In this tutorial for Gaslands, I'm going to talk about the attack step. Alright, now after you're done with the movement step, you can go to the attack step with that vehicle you activated. And the steps are: you check if it's distracted, assign crew members to weapons, declare targets, check range, line of sight and cover, roll to attack, defender gets to roll to evade, and then you remove hull points. So those are the steps for the attack. So let's go through that. Alright, the first thing we have to check is distracted. And what is that? Basically, that means, is your vehicle touching an obstruction or another vehicle? Such as, is it in contact with a vehicle, yours or somebody else's, enemies? If it is, your vehicle can't attack. It just sits there, that attack phase, and can't do anything. Or it could be in contact with some obstruction like a building or a wall, so forth. And if that's true, it does not get to do an attack this turn. That's all it means by being distracted. Alright, the next thing to do is assign crew members to weapons. Each weapon that you're going to fire on your vehicle requires a crew member. So how many crew members do you have? Well, you go to your dashboard again, and the performance car says crew of 1. So this one's only going to be able to shoot 1 weapon. If it's a monster truck, it could shoot up to 2 weapons. If it's a car, up to 2. Buggy up to 2. Some can have 3, 4. I think semi can have like 8 or 9 or something, a bus or something like that. So it depends upon the vehicle what you're going to get. And that's how you tell how many crew members or how many weapons you can shoot, is how many crew members you have. Because these are some of the weapons you get. So if you got a machine gun, you have to have a crew member being able to shoot that. If you have a rocket, and let's say you have machine gun and rocket, you have to have 2 crew members. So that sports car, that performance car, let me see if I can find it. There it is. With a crew member of 1, if I have both, let's say a Gatling gun and the rockets on there, I can only shoot 1 of them. However, if this is on a buggy, well, this has crew members of 2, that means I can shoot both those weapons. So that's all it means by choosing a crew member to shoot the weapon. Alright, the next thing we need to do is declare a target. So let's say this vehicle wants to shoot that vehicle. Now, what you really want to do is check, is it in range and line of sight? So how do we figure out the range? And that's where we go to this. And each weapon has a different range. So this one says medium, double, large, and then smash. That's going to be basically your ranges. Medium, double, large template, or smash. Smash is basically you're running into them. So we're not going to talk about that one, because if you run into them, you're doing your attack. So let's talk about medium first. What is that? And that is basically the medium movement template. So is it in range? And how you figure it is, you have different mounting for weapons. When you buy the weapon, where do you want it mounted? Do you want it shooting in the front? Do you want it shooting at the side, which means you can shoot either side? You can shoot this side or that side. Every turn it can switch. Or shooting out the rear. And how do you figure out, like if it's shooting at the front, that this vehicle is in range? Well, you don't have to center it like this like you do the movement template. You can actually move it clear to the top front of the vehicle all the way down there. Now, it isn't going to be turned. It's going to be parallel with the front of the vehicle, but you can slide it. Now, if it's on the side, it's going to be the same thing. From there, all the way to there. Same on the other side. In rear, of course, from there to there. So if we look at this, medium, the vehicle's not underneath it, but if the vehicle was here, you can attack it. Here, you can attack it, and so forth. Now, double is not quite what it sounds. It actually is a medium and long put together. And woohoo, we can attack them with that. And then, of course, the large template. There it is. It's kind of like a flamethrower, maybe. You can, of course, you can do it out the back too if you mount it in the rear. But it can also be slid along like this. So if this vehicle was up here, let's say down here, well, of course, that doesn't show it's hitting. But there I am hitting it, so I do get to attack you. Now, that is how you figure range. What about line of sight? What you look at is tall terrain. So let's say, I'm going to get my building out here. So we got this building. Can this vehicle see this one? Well, it's just like shooting straight ahead. Can't. Now, if we had it right here, it's running through the whole building. It can't see it. But see how we can slide down saying, see, it's not completely, even partially, it's out of the building there. So it's partially in the building, partially out. Even though it's partially out, I can see that vehicle. Of course, here you can see it completely. It's just that, let's say it's up here. Even when I move it clear down here, it's going through that building. I can't shoot it. But if I get it where it's not going through the building or going through any other tall terrain and it's getting that vehicle, I can shoot at it even though it's partially under that building. It's just, is the whole template covered? Like right there. Is that whole template covered by that tall terrain? Then I can't shoot. If it's only partially covered, then I can't shoot. So that's how you do line of sight. So again, when you're declaring your target, is it in range? And is it in line of sight? All right, this vehicle wants to attack that one. And how does it do that? Well, it depends upon which weapon it bought. So you can see here a machine gun gets 2d6, heavy machine gun gets 3, Gatling gets 4, rockets gets 6, 125 millimeter cannon gets 8. It just depends upon which weapon you got. So we're just going to keep it simple. Let's do heavy machine gun. 3d6. All right, so it's going to get a 3d6 attack. So that means it's going to roll 3 dice. And all it's looking for is 4, 5, or 6. 1, 2, 3 misses. So we roll, and we got a 2, 3, and a 4. Well, a 4 is going to hit. Now this vehicle doesn't necessarily mean that it did take damage. It got hit, but did it hit anything vulnerable in this vehicle? So this vehicle is going to roll its gear. And let's say it's in gear 3. So that means it's going to get, 3 dice to roll for defense. And I'm going to do it in a different color. So it's going to get 3 dice. Now, instead of 4, 5, or 6, it's only looking for a 6. If it gets a 6, it nullifies a hit. And it got a 6, so it nullified that hit, took no damage. Let's go through this again. Let's see if we get a little better hit here. And of course, my dice just... Okay, this is a good example. All right, this missed. 1, 2, 3. 4, that's 1. 6 is special. 6 is not 1 damage, but 2. So this is actually 1, 2, 3 damage. So this vehicle actually took possibly 3 damage. I shouldn't say 3 damage. It took 3 hits. But it's going speed 3. If it was going speed 4, or gear 4, I keep saying speed, but if it's going to gear 4, it would get to roll 4 evade dice. But it's only going gear 3. Slower targets are easier to hit. So it's looking for 6 only, 4 or 5 doesn't matter. And it got 1 6, so it's going to nullify that 1 hit, but it still took 2 hits. So it takes 2 damage. And since this is a car, these little boxes here is how much damage it can take. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this can take 10 damage. It's already taken 2. So it could take 8 more damage before it is taken out of the game. Performance car can only take 6. Our monster truck can take 10. 10. There's I think pickup can take 12. I think a semi, or what they call a war rig, but a semi I think can take around 20 hits. The little dune buggy can take 6. So your vehicles are going to be different depending upon which one you get. But that's how you do it. You basically roll whatever damage it says. So if you're rolling flamethrower, you're doing 6. You're rolling grenades, you're doing 1. You're looking for 4, 5, or 6. 4 and 5 count as 1 damage each. And a 6 counts as 2. They roll their speed, needing 6s to cancel 1 hit each. And then they take whatever's left over. And if their vehicle is completely, all these are checked off, the vehicle's turns into a wreck, and we'll get to that in just a minute. One other thing I want to go over is about the crew is like you had two crew here, of course, two crew here, and the performance car only has one, so this wouldn't be one to really talk about that. But the ones with crew, well, it could be the sports car too. If you have crew members, they can also shoot their pistol, and that is right here. They can shoot their handgun, and it's a 1-die attack. And what's nice about that is it's medium range, 360. So this is a freebie. You get this when you buy the vehicle. It comes with this crew. They come with their pistols, and you can shoot. So if this vehicle was aimed that way, well, there's no way it can shoot its machine guns. But can it shoot its pistol? Yes, because it's a 360. It can be turned any direction. So it gets to shoot its pistol at it. And that's a 1-die attack, so we'll see if it hits. And 3 misses. But if it rolled a 4, it hits. This gets to roll its evade. Oh, wow, this is rolling really good. And they cancel that hit. Now, what if it's the other way? This one wants to shoot its machine gun, and it can't. So it's going to shoot its pistol. Well, how many crew members does it have? Car has 2. So it's going to get 2 attacks. Now, these are separate attacks. So I'm just going to do, for this tutorial, I'm going to do them separate. So the first shot misses. The second shot hit. Now, this one's going to get its evade, and let's say it's going speed 4, and it evaded it. Wow, I normally don't roll this good. Now, what happens if I would have got this? These are separate attacks. This is one crew member shooting and another crew member shooting. So this took 1 hit. Does it evade that hit? Yes. So this is gone. This one now, evade. Oh, it did not evade. It took 1 damage. So if we go to our performance car, mark one of those off, it now has 7 whole points left before it's taken out of the game. So if you can't shoot, but you are in medium range, your crew members can shoot their pistol. Now, if we're in this situation and this has a machine gun, right? Oh, it gets to shoot its machine gun. So it's going to get its 3 dice and hit once. This has got 4 dice for evade, and it evaded it. Now, this had 2 crew members. One crew member is doing a machine gun. The other one can shoot his pistol. So you get another attack, and we're going to pretend like a hit. There, oh, 2 damage. Does this nullify 2 hits? And it nullified none of them, so this vehicle now takes 2 hits. So your crew members, one of them has to man the gun you want to shoot. The rest of them can shoot their pistol, shotguns, or whatever it is at medium range. If they can't shoot the main weapon, all of them can shoot their pistols, but each of them is a separate attack. And they get a separate evade roll versus each of those attacks. All right, the last thing I want to cover is, let's go back to this situation. Okay, so it took, this wants to shoot that at 4, 5, or 6, but what if something like this, short walls in a way, or even the McPizza King here was kind of in the way. It still had line of sight to it, but no matter how it moved its template, it's still partially, let's say partially underneath it. No matter how it moved it to get the shot off. It's somehow partially still underneath that, or is shooting over a low wall or something, or, you know, it can't, part of the template's still underneath that. What happens here is it's 1 harder to hit the target. This target has cover. So instead of needing 4, 5, or 6, now it's a 5 or a 6. Now 6 still counts as 2 damage. So it's going to shoot its 3 dice, needing a 5 or 6, and oh my gosh. Okay, so we're not going to count that. It's just for purposes. So there, that would have normally hit if that wall was not there, but because that wall, that template had to run over to that wall there, that misses. So it needs a 5 or 6. We'll take 1 more. There, that did hit 2. It's going to do its avoid and nullified 1 of them. Even though it's 2, this does not count as 2. That's still 1. It took 1 whole damage. So if it does get cover, it's 1 harder to hit the target. All right, so what happens if all of your hull points are gone? You got attacked. So let's say this was successful. Destroyed that one, and all of its hull points are gone. So what do? Well, first, you grab the short movement template, and it goes forward that far. Now, if something's in the way, it's going to crash into it and you do a collision as normal. But if nothing's in the way, you just go on, go there. Then, any hazard tokens, let me find a car one, any hazard tokens that has, it's gone. Okay, so you take all the hazard tokens on, and basically, it goes down to gear 1, but basically it becomes a wreck. You flip it over. It's no longer in the game. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so it becomes a wreck. I'm going to turn it on its side so it's a little easier to see. So it becomes a wreck. Well, maybe it'll stay. It won't stay on its side. So we'll just do that. So it becomes a wreck. Now there's also a possibility this thing explodes. And all you're going to do is roll a d6. And 6 or higher, it explodes. Boom, it explodes. And if it explodes, anything within medium range, 360 medium range, gets attacked. It depends upon the weight of the vehicle. Now, how do you tell the weight of the vehicle? Is up here at the top. Lightweight, medium weight, and heavyweight. Now, if it's a lightweight vehicle and explodes, it's going to do 2 dice damage. If it's middleweight, 4 and 6. It's basically a 2-die attack, a 4-dice attack, or a 6-dice attack against friend or foe that's in that explosion radius, and they get no avoid dice. They just take the damage. So this thing explodes. It's a medium, so it does 4 or higher, and wow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This was going speed 4, and it avoided one of them, so it's going to take 2, 3, 4 damage from this thing exploding, and this is removed from the game. If it does not explode, it stays on the table as something people can run into. It's the same weight category as they are, so this is a medium weight obstruction. If it was a buggy or something, it'd be lightweight, and a truck would be heavyweight. If it runs into it, due to collision is normal, but then it's removed from the game because it's a destructible one. Now, another thing that could happen to make this explode even easier is if you have ammo. Now remember, it took a 6. I had to roll a 6, and this time, no explosion. But if you look at some of these weapons here, they say ammo 3, ammo 3, ammo 3. Whatever ammo it has not used, so if it's used 1, well, this wouldn't have a cannon. Let's say the rockets. It shot 1 of its rocket, has 2 ammo left. That means you're going to add 2 to this. So that means that's a 5, it did not explode. But if it rolled a 4, 5, 6, it will explode. So the ammo gets added to that die roll to see if this explodes. So that's what happens if your weapon is damaged enough that it loses all of its hull points.